Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Grouse Tubular Maulers. I'm Dave Forrest, and this is my good friend
Harvey Lowe.
And in today's episode, what is that?
What is that? Now this is one of these aircraft that any aircraft enthusiast, like they already know about Spitfire Zeros, right? But you show this, and a lot of people have said, "What's that?"
What's that?
This is a Kawasaki Key 32 Mary, codename Ally, codename Mary. The kit is a 32nd scale resin kit by LEM Models, L-E-M, out of Ukraine. Okay, I love Japanese aircraft. Actually, I love Pacific Theater. I do a lot of Italian aircraft. It's just a lot of these Japanese aircraft are unique, and I like unique subjects. So, what do you do when you have a unique subject? A kit comes out. What do? You buy it.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, it's not exactly a cheap kit, resin kits, as they go. They are available through eBay, and I believe directly from the manufacturer.
So when would this have been released?
This kit was released, I think, about a year ago.
Oh, so it's fairly new.
It's very new.
Okay.
It's very new. And the original aircraft, now that we're on it, was originally designed and saw service around the late 30s. First in the war in China.
Yeah.
Right, the Sino-Japanese War, and then she did see combat in World War II, but only in the invasion of Hong Kong. After that, they pulled them out of service.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Because they had better bombers. Now, they call it I've heard it referred to as a dive bomber, but it didn't really have dive flaps, right? If you can see in the bottom here, it doesn't. Not like a Stuka or a Dauntless. They were level bombers as well. So on the underside, you can see it has an external load of bombs. And by the way, if you are building Japanese aircraft, the ordnance and bombs between Navy and Army were different colors. So these are black with red. I guess the bulb forward part of the bomb is red. Okay. The rest is black. The aircraft itself, as you can, we'll actually flip to some photos online while we're filming this. And the first photo that we see here is of a Key 32, the one that is actually modeled. You can see a black and white photo of it on the screen of the aircraft actually in combat. And you can see it's got the same chrysanthemum tail markings.
So that's actually this aircraft? Is that?
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
Right.
And so that's a black and white. Now we're gonna see the kit you can see on the screen. This is photo number 1. This is the cover art for the LEM kit. Very simple boxing, and you can see it's nothing fancy. It's 32nd scale, limited edition resin. As soon as you see limited edition, Dave, you're in for
a treat.
You're in for a real treat. This photo, which is photo number 2, shows what the kit kind of looks like. It's not every piece, but you can see as a typical limited resin, you've got a lot of parts with absolutely no location guides.
Yeah, wow.
Right? You get the floor, you got a bit of this. Now, the thing I'll talk about later is there ain't a lot of references on this aircraft. So we see this photo here. Number 3 is what you get for the canopy. They give you 2 pieces of canopy, which is really good because it's an extra in case you screw up.
Now the frames are, it's hard to tell from the picture, but the frames are already...
They're raised.
They're raised,
yeah,
okay.
and I'll show you how I did them in a moment, but this is what you get. The decals are actually quite good, but not of the aircraft that I wanted. And aircraft in 32nd scale for Japanese, I always use a circular cutter. I don't bother with decals, right?
It's a nice thing about the Hinamara, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's very
really
simple.
Easy, yeah.
And this photo shows the cleaning process. So this one, see, I just wash the part. I always wash resin parts.
Yeah.
In dish soap. And sometimes I rub them a bit with rubbing alcohol if I see some parts that might have a little bit more residue. And I just put them in one of these food containers and kind of shake it around a bit and make sure that it's all completely washed. But we're going to talk about a bit of a challenge with this resin in a moment, which if you're going to model this, you should know. This photo here, photo number 5, shows what you have to do with these kits. There are no locating holes, no guide pins, so I always use styrene with either 5-minute epoxy or super glue for these tabs. and add them myself. I cut out squares and put them in the fuselage halves.
Okay. So, and that's just to give it something
Yes.
to hold on to,
Yeah.
to help align things
Exactly. Otherwise, it's going to slip and slide.
up. Right.
So you if you're building any of these, you have to do that. Photo number 6. Now, there are no references on this aircraft. None. Zero. Like there's no profile book on it. You think that some Eastern European model company, from Poland, Czechoslovakia, or Ukraine, nothing. There's nothing on this aircraft. Kagero doesn't do anything. But there is one reference that I used and got a hold of. I believe you can get it off the net now. That came from the archives of the Japanese Defense Department in 1940. It's the actual manual. The actual manual of this aircraft. And here's a photo, number 6, that shows an example from it. They're beautiful. So they're all from the manual of the aircraft, and this one's an example.
So you bought the manual?
Online. You can get it.
You get it
download it online.
okay.
You'll find it if you Google Key 32 manual. You might get to it. So that is a wonderful resource, and you can see these two photos. Photo number 6 and 7 show the detail. So that's it. That's from the manufacturer. That's what because there really is not a lot of detail in the interior. They did use this manual, the company, to design it, but all these other little details, the wires, the little electric boxes, you still have to kind of figure out and add a bit more.
Wow.
It gives you an idea where the seat location.
That's way too much work.
It's a lot of work.
It's way too much work.
Right. There's kind of where I am at the stage of this photo number 8, which shows the resin where it lines up. You got to be really careful where those floors go. You're always measuring, and then I use strips.
I mean, obviously, it looks like you added a bunch of, there's plastic strip,
Yep.
there's other,
Yep.
you added a bunch of details.
Some of it is gizmology that is kind of adds. It's not really affected to the aircraft, but it makes it a little busier.
Right.
If I can't see it, and it might be, I use my own judgment. There's it all painted up, the interior. And these aircraft were Army aircraft, and at this time, similar to the Key 21 Sallies, they were painted in this blue-gray interior, not the cockpit
Amazing.
green. And you can see that it's quite busy. And in 30 seconds, with the canopy off, you can see it.
Very nice.
I don't know about you, Dave, but do you put interiors in if you can't see them? I don't. I just don't bother. Right? Like in bombers, or I don't bother.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Right?
I guess if you're not going to see it.
You're not going to see it.
Although, to be honest, the process of ignoring it would be tough for me to go through. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know.
Even though you're never going to see it, but yeah, that'd be a wasted effort.
Well, here's where you will see. So this is photo number 10. This is the double-barreled machine gun in the back. And these did exist. I got some really good photos of Japanese ground.
So that's all scratched. Is that all scratched? Like none of that came from the kit?
No, it's all scratched.
Wow.
Pretty much. Bits of plastic. I just went to the spare box and
That's amazing. Well done.
Right? So, because they did exist. They were double-barreled. And you can see the twin magazines on there. I'm not going to go into the details of the gun itself, but...
Very cool.
Now, photo number 11.
Oh yeah. The fun
Right?
begins.
You have to... I use styrene tube from Evergreen. You have to put these in. Because, so you can see in this photo, there's a thinner piece that runs through the center of the fuselage. The thicker one goes in the wing, and they kind of go into each other. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but if you don't do this, the structural integrity will be compromised.
That was because those are those solid wings?
No, the wings, no, they're hollow actually.
Oh really? Okay.
So that's a good point. That allowed the tube to fit into the wing.
I got it. Okay.
But like anything, if you are a competitor and you want to enter at the Nats, these are not the models to enter at the Nats. Because you will I will say it, this controversial statement, you will most likely lose. Because if it's about fit and finish with these limited run kits, because resins, they're handmade, whatever, they're never going to be perfect. And if you're off by 0.5 millimeter,
you're fighting. I mean, if that's what you're into, you're fighting an uphill battle.
You are fighting an uphill battle at the IPMS Nationals. I'm not knocking it, but that's the judging system. If you want to do that, then go buy a Tamiya or Edward kit. But this is really more for your own satisfaction. But if it's fit and finish, these are very tough to do by eye. It takes a long time to get the dehedral right.
Yeah, imagine. Wow.
There's another shot, number 12, which shows you finally what the rod looks like on the inside, and again with the fuselage buttoned up.
How precise is that tube? Like in terms of measuring, like is it just really meant to provide some support? So whether it's straight on both sides or whatnot, it's a little bit less critical.
It is, but you see, you got to be at least somewhat symmetrical because then your dehedral will be off. But the diameter of the tube doesn't matter as long as it fits into the other tube.
Right.
But it's kind of like your old-fashioned.
So there's a little bit of forgiveness, but not a ton.
A bit.
Yeah.
And I got lucky because the tube is going through the section of the aircraft between the rear and front cockpits that you can't see.
Right.
See? So you don't have to worry about that. And this is the photo number 13 of going into the wing. You see? It's a lot of work. But do you want a Key 32 in your collection? How many will have this?
Exactly.
Very few guys will have them. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not all about competing for a show or than that.
No, you want one in your collection.
It's really what's
Right.
gonna turn your crank, right?
And like all the other appendages of the rear stabilizer, rudder, wings, you have to have pins.
Yeah.
You have to, because it's gonna knock, it's gonna fall apart. I love this super glue. It's the black colored EHPD 2000, and I use that so it gives me an idea where the seam lines are.
Yeah.
A lot of putty.
Yeah. I can imagine.
A lot of putty. Here's where it gets interesting. This is the only kit. Now, I mentioned this to manufacturers. The only resin kit that I've ever had problems with. This shows you that after I primed it with Tamiya primer out of the can, nothing stuck to it. The primer wouldn't stick. Like it just as if there was like an oil over the whole thing, even after I cleaned it. Nothing stuck to it. I tried to sand it, give it tooth. I washed it again. I used isopropyl. The Tamiya primer, I tried other primers. I tried automotive primer.
Nothing would stick.
Nothing would stick to this resin. It would bubble up.
Oh.
And I thought, well, what do I do now? I've done the cockpit. So then I thought, well, how do I get the paint to stick? Nothing will work. Super glue. I literally took this thin super glue. It seems so archaic and Neanderthal. But I literally coated the whole model in sections and literally put it on the model by a brush and a rag. I had to do it quickly because it's...
Now, was this just on the wing? Or
mostly on the wings. I got lucky. The
Right.
fuselage wasn't so bad.
Right.
But and it didn't have a problem with the interior parts, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But the wings,
It's true.
I
Wonder why. Like, is that...
asked, he said it could be something in the resin. I haven't tried their other kits yet, but I did warn the manufacturer, like this will be a big put off if people want to build your kits and you can't, because then it's work. And putting thin liquid super glue on the wings, guess what? It's like spraying with your Mr. Thinner, lacquer thinner. It's dangerous. The fumes are dangerous.
Yeah.
So you have to open a window because this stuff, the fumes from the super glue is very dangerous. So you got to wear goggles. So,
When you're working in that type of quantity, right?
yeah, and then you got to do it in sections because as soon as you put a paintbrush on, it hardens.
Yeah.
Now then, once you put it on, guess what? You got to sand it, and when you sand it, you lose all the engraved panel lines. It was a pain. And there's picture number what are we now? It's 17. It shows you what it looked like when it beat it up. See? It just kept beating up and it kept dissolving. This is the white primer over the resin.
It's crazy. Wow.
It's totally
Never
crazy.
seen that.
Never.
Not that I work with a ton of resin models, but I've never heard of that. Wow.
Never heard of either. I sanded it, nothing worked. Resprayed it, nothing worked.
So there must have been some chemical reaction that the crazy glue or the super glue.
The resin wouldn't accept the
Yeah.
paint. Only with the coat of the super glue did it work. But then guess what? You have to reprime it. Rescribe it. After all that, of course, the canopy. This picture 18 shows how I separate canopies from the vacuform mold. And what I do is I cut like radiating lines from the canopy part you see in this photo. and I use a heavy saw if the plastic's thick, and I literally scribe it a few times and then break off those radiating lines. It's a bit tricky, but if you're one for a glutton for punishment, you want these limited run kits with vacuum form canopies.
So that was vacuum form. That came out of the box like that.
That came out of the box, and I'm cutting it. Yeah,
Right,
that's
okay.
it. So if you're doing vac canopies, it's an entirely different hobby. Dave's shaking his head. Now, photo number 19. There are no masks for this model, so I have a Cameo 4 vinyl cutter, and I designed them myself.
Oh wow!
It takes a lot of time because you're measuring on the computer against the vacuum form. Once you have it, it's a breeze. Then you just print off whatever you want, but it takes time.
Wow, that's industrious.
I did.
So how do you measured out each panel?
Yeah.
And then recreated that
on the computer, on the software that the Cameo 4 Studio, which is called Silhouette.
Now, would you do that again, or would you just use like thin strips of tape?
I would next time. That's a good question. I'd probably use thin strips of tape.
Yeah.
I probably would, because this took a while. You're right, but the advantage of this is that you've got. If anybody wants another one, I think I might have even uploaded it to a site that has the mask, or I haven't done it yet, but I will. That way, if anybody does build this kit,
Nice.
they can have
Well
mine.
done.
Yeah. There's photo number 20, which shows you the masking. Now you notice I cut them so that it opens. You can scribe and scribe and scribe. So again, if you like self-harm, then build one of these kits, because.
Oh, so they didn't come in so you have to you have to separate them.
Yes. And you're doing airbrush exhaust
and I'm bitching about a Edward state-of-the-art kit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so, anyways, the chrysanthemum is also done from an image, which I then redesigned in the Silhouette. And you can see this in photo number 21. It comes on the screen.
Very nice.
And that's the mask as it's applied to the tail. Photo number 22. See that on the screen? And there's a beautiful picture by Japanese artist Shigeo Kuoki, if I pronounce his name right.
Oh yeah, he did all the
sentai.
Hasegawa art back in the day, right?
Yeah, I think he's retired, but that's a beautiful print.
Right.
I want to buy it, but I think it's out of print. But it shows you the beauty of the colors. And by the way, the colors were done using. I used this blue tack,
yeah.
right? So my modulate, you're a master at modulation. Mine's is simply a white primer, black lines for the panel lines, and then colors applied in layers. You see, each color is done separately.
So I was going to ask how you got the kind of the fine, it's not a hard edge, but it's like a fine feathered edge.
Very fine.
Very nice.
Very fine.
Yeah.
And you have to do the color separately. You can't do the base color because then you lose the modulation.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
And you mask it with paper, with the previous color, and you do the next color. It is now humbly in number 116 of Meng's Air Modeler.
Nice.
And all the details are there. Sentai, everything's there. I'm not going to go over it. And that's the cover in photo number 26. Now we're going to shift back to the model so you can see it through firsthand. It's a big model. It's the size of a Stuka, right?
Yeah.
And the colors I've heard, and this is the theory, they were army colors and you look closely, very similar to Japanese armored tank colors. Now, whether they use the same stock, I don't know. The article will tell you what colors they use, but basically, it's kind of like an ochre color, an earth brown, similar to RAF, and any type of olive or dark green. There is no records to show exactly what colors they were, and the patterns did vary slightly. I think it's a very attractive looking color. I think it's a very attractive looking aircraft, and the reason why I stuck it through so that I could...
It's a unique subject.
It's very unique. Yeah, I added see the little step plate on the side people use to climb into the aircraft on the side here.
Yeah.
But
how did you do the little fuselage window slits?
Those, you are observant. You get them in vac back to form, but I just use the Canopy glue that Evergreen has, and I believe Squadron has, and you just fill it at the end. It's very nice, right? The Canopy itself went on quite nice, and I like the fact that it's opened up so that you can see inside. There's no engine in there, but I didn't bother with that. But after all that work, I finally have it.
Nice.
And
It's beautiful.
I love it. It's just
Very unique subject.
It's very you won't see these
No.
at
You're not going to
tables.
see too many.
No. Is it perfect? Nah, the alignment's a resin kit, and I use the Easy line. Some of the guys in IPMS Northeast New York, they were talking about Wonder Wire, and
Wonder Wire.
yeah, so I have some of that Nick sent me. Thanks, Nick. And I'm going to try it from that club, and I'm going to try it on my next one. The Easy line, I find it's kind of flat.
Well, yeah, it's kind of flat and it's a little bit like it twists.
Twists, yeah. I
So
can
it's not
see
fully
it.
round,
I
right?
can see it here.
Yeah.
But it's resilient. You can.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about
You
it.
can
Is
knock it.
it'll last forever and it's springy and it gives and it's
Yeah.
very forgiving.
Now, a final note before we end this session is I use the same method used on the 109 with a metallic pencil to chip. These aircraft didn't get dirty at all, so they didn't flake because they weren't in so very long, and there's not a lot of information. I think my theory is that there's not a lot of info on these aircraft because at that time, Japanese secrecy, they don't want this stuff out, and they were very glossy. So this aircraft is on the glossy side on purpose. So you can see that there's almost like a glossy sheen
It's a
to
bit
it.
of a sheet. But it's a good sensible
it's a-
semi.
Yes.
Yeah, I think not
Yeah.
too glossy.
Yes, you look in photos, you can see the sunlight bouncing off them. So they were, when Japan had air dominance, these aircraft were very clean. They didn't get bashed up or weathered very much. And even though my weathering guy said this one's going to be fairly clean, I just added a bit of weathering with some oils, some raw umber here and there in the panel lines to re-accentuate them, but that's it, not much. And there's not a lot of exhaust staining on these aircraft either, so I didn't put
Nice.
that on.
Very
And I'll
nice.
just flip it for the camera to see the underside. Standard light gray on the underside.
Beautiful.
Right. Fixed landing gear, and et voila.
Well, that's outstanding. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact. I mean, the subject is
it's quite different.
is very different, and you're not going to see it very unique. But the fact that it's a resin kit, all the work you did to it, the challenges you had with the paint not sticking, and having to put super glue on. Like, wow.
Yeah, well, there it is. Otherwise, the kit went together fairly well.
I'd have binned this kit a long time ago. That's what I would have done.
Well, I'm thinking.
Go back to my
Yeah.
Tamiya build.
You know what they do at Kika in 30 seconds?
Thanks. Thanks.
I thought,
You gonna do this again?
I don't know. I'm going to
gonna do
ask the company. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to ask the company if their Kika has the same resin issues, because if it does, then it won't. But I do have their Key 115 Saruki. The wooden aircraft suicide. They do.
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
do one in 30 seconds. I have it.
Oh, wow.
I haven't tested it yet, but I have that one. But they gotta look at the resin issue, because the paint won't stick. Then
That's weird.
You're gonna frustrate. I've
That's
never
weird.
had that
I've
problem.
never heard of that.
I've never had that problem.
Never heard of that either.
Other than that, it's a beautiful aircraft. I think I think it's so ugly. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean that's the nice thing about warplanes, and the uglier they are, the more compelling they seem to be.
Mm-hmm. It does give me the
I guess
lines
it
of
works
a
both ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a Stuka to me.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I want to do a Stuka. Who makes a 32nd Stuka A? I think it's Trumpeter. I think. But with the early version of the Stuka.
Yeah.
And that one you can do Japanese as well.
Oh really?
Yes. I might do that one. And almost a similar scheme to this.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
Anyways,
Well, that's good. So that's it for the photos and the pictures. And
that's it.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you. I just thought it'd be easier.
A
this
very
way
unique
for us.
subject, and
Yeah.
obviously a lot of challenges along the way.
So I know you guys may not build one, but at least it gives you an idea if you want to tackle a limited run resin kit.
Nope.
You can follow these tips.
Not gonna happen.
All right. There we go.
That's so. You're a better man than me.
Oh, no.
Never tried.
So thanks, Dave.
No, great. Thanks for walking us through that. Compelling, but wow, yeah. So I guess you learned a few things along
I
the way,
did.
right? That's the thing, when you challenge yourself with these types of builds, like never like if you're gonna like there's that saying, right? The next best thing to winning is failing fast. Meaning,
Yes.
meaning that if you,
Yes.
if you fail, you're gonna learn from it, and you're gonna get better. But not that there's failure here, but obviously there's some
There's a
challenges.
few there is.
There's some challenges that
There
go
is.
along the way that you have to overcome. So bravo.
But thank you. But again, it's something that's unique and rare, and if you really want it in your collection, then that's what drives you. Otherwise, build it to me a kit right out of the box, which is I've never done that.
I'm in
but
that. I'm in that camp.
I got to do that.
It's refreshing.
It
really is.
This is not
It's
refreshing. Anyways, thank you.
Okay. Well,
All right.
that wraps up this episode. So again, thanks everybody for hanging out, and we'll see you. We'll see you next time around.
Okay.
Take care all. Bye.
Take care.